Hello, friends, and welcome back. I hope you're all doing well by God's grace. Let's start the first part of the episode. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your support. The silence before the storm, it wasn't the polygamy that destroyed them. It was the silence, the secrets, and finally, the court order. By the time the truth began clawing its way into the open, it was already too late. What once looked like a complicated but functional family had rotted from the inside out, hollowed by manipulation and quiet betrayals no one dared to name. Now, under the cold authority of a courtroom, the sister wives were no longer allies. They were witnesses, against each other. And the most chilling part? One name was missing entirely: Kody Brown. Not listed as a defendant, not called as a witness, not even mentioned. That absence was louder than anything else. And it meant one thing: this case was bigger than anyone expected. It began on a quiet Sunday morning in Flagstaff. The kind of morning that felt harmless. Ordinary. Coffee brewed in soft gurgles in the kitchen. Robin moved gently through the house, tending to the children. Janelle fed her sourdough starter like she always did. Christine watched the leaves fall outside, lost in thought. Mary walked alone, as she often had in recent years, present, but never truly part of things. For separate lives. Still tied together. Still pretending. Then came the knocks. For doors. For identical moments. Each woman opened her door to find the same thing: a certified envelope. White. Official. Cold. Inside, a subpoena. From the Arizona Superior Court. No explanation. No listed plaintiff. No clear accusation. Only a vague and ominous title: family-based civil action, internal complaint. And something else, something far more unsettling. Kody's name wasn't there. That was the first crack. The first signal that whatever was coming was already in motion. Christine didn't speak when she read hers. She didn't call anyone. Didn't cry. Didn't ask questions. She simply folded the paper carefully, stood up, and began packing a bag. Across town, Janelle wasn't as quiet. She stormed straight to Robin's house, the paper clenched tightly in her hand, demanding answers that didn't exist. Robin stood there, shaken, clutching her children as if they might disappear. "I don't know what this is," she insisted, her voice trembling. But something in her eyes didn't match her words. And Janelle noticed. Mary's reaction was different. She smiled. Not a warm smile. Not a relieved one. The kind of smile people wear when they're already carrying too much, and one more weight doesn't change anything anymore. By the next morning, they were seated inside the courthouse. But they didn't sit together. No shared glances. No quiet reassurances. Each woman had her own attorney. Their unity, once the entire foundation of their family, was gone. Replaced by distance and suspicion. The courtroom itself felt sterile, almost lifeless. But beneath that stillness, something simmered. Judge Celeste Harmon entered without ceremony. Her presence was immediate and commanding, the kind of authority that didn't need to be announced. Former federal litigator. Sharp. Precise. And completely uninterested in excuses. She looked at each woman in turn before speaking. "This case is unusual." Her voice was calm, but deliberate. "The plaintiff remains sealed for now. However, the evidence presented today will identify them and may implicate more than one of you." That was when the tension truly began. Robin's lip trembled. Christine folded her arms. Janelle muttered something under her breath. Mary didn't react at all. Then came the shift. A monitor was wheeled into the courtroom. A small speaker placed on the table. Judge Harmon didn't hesitate. "We'll begin with an audio file." Robin immediately stood. "Your Honor, that can't be legal. We didn't agree to sit down." The judge didn't even look at her. "You'll want to hear this." The room fell into a suffocating silence as the recording began. Static. Then a voice. Familiar. Unmistakable. Kody. Calm. Controlled. Calculated. "If Christine flips, we invoke the asset clause." The air in the room shifted instantly. "Robin and I need to stay protected. Janelle won't risk the kids." And Mary, a pause. A cold, dismissive edge. "Mary owes us." She won't go against the plan. No one moved. No one breathed. Then we retitle the properties quietly. Lock everything down. If anyone pushes back, we release Mary's messages. A sharp gasp echoed through the courtroom. That'll shut her up. Robin looked like she might collapse. Christine turned toward her so fast it was almost violent. What plan? She demanded. Janelle stood, her voice shaking with anger. What is this, Robin? But Robin didn't answer. She couldn't. Because the recording kept going. If anyone sues, they lose everything. The words landed like a hammer. And in that moment, everything they thought they understood about their lives shattered. Mary's lawyer leaned in, whispering urgently. But Mary didn't react. Not a blink. Not a breath. Just silence. Christine, however, was shaking. Not from fear. From rage. He said he loved us. Her voice was barely above a whisper. He made us believe in something. The judge stopped the recording. The silence that followed was deafening. We'll continue tomorrow, she said. Then added, almost as an afterthought, this is no longer just a civil matter. Robin stood, barely able to hold herself upright. I didn't know, she insisted. I swear I didn't know he said that. Christine walked past her slowly, eyes locked. You didn't say it, she replied coldly. But you helped him do it. Janelle snapped her binder shut. I'm not going down for this, she said. Not for either of them. The courtroom had changed. What had started as confusion was now something else entirely. Something dangerous. Before dismissing them, Judge Harmon raised her hand. One of you will remain for sealed testimony. A pause. Then Christine Brown. Christine froze. The others were escorted out. And for the first time, she was alone. The judge studied her carefully. You've been quiet, she said. But I don't think that's going to last. Christine sat there, the weight of years pressing down on her. Secrets. Lies. Choices she couldn't undo. Because whatever she was about to say next wouldn't just change the case. It would destroy what was left of the family. The first betrayal breaks the courtroom felt colder the next morning. Not because the temperature had changed, but because everyone inside knew something had shifted. What had once been buried was now rising, and there was no forcing it back down. Christine Brown sat in the witness box. She looked different. Older. Hardened. Not fragile, but sharpened by something far more dangerous than fear. Truth. Her hands were wrapped tightly around a folded tissue, knuckles pale, but her voice, when she finally spoke, was steady. Controlled. That audio. She began quietly, her eyes fixed straight ahead. It's not the only one. A ripple moved through the room. Janelle leaned forward instantly. Mary stiffened beside her. Robin's grip tightened around the silver cross hanging from her neck. Christine didn't look at any of them. I've had copies for years, she continued. I didn't want to use them. I told myself it would only make things worse. She paused. But now, I don't have a choice. The air thickened. Even Judge Harmon leaned forward slightly, her sharp gaze narrowing with interest. Christine nodded toward her attorney, who immediately stepped forward and placed a second folder on the evidence table. This recording, Christine said, was taken during what we were told was a family budget meeting. Her voice hardened. But it wasn't a budget meeting. It was a plan. The speaker clicked on again. And, just like before, Kody's voice filled the room. Smooth. Measured. Cold. We restructure everything under one LLC, he said. I'll be the face. Robin, you handle the taxes. A pause. The rest of them, they'll fold. They always do. A murmur swept through the courtroom. Christine's joy tightened. Christine's too emotional. Janelle doesn't have the stomach. And Mary, a faint, almost mocking tone crept in. She's desperate. She won't fight. Robin's face crumpled as if struck. Janelle went completely still, her expression draining of color. Mary pressed her lips together so tightly they began to tremble. We'll have control before they even realize they've lost it. The recording ended. Silence. Heavy. Unforgiving. Christine's composure cracked, but only slightly. He was gambling with our lives, she said, her voice breaking just enough to reveal the weight behind it. And we didn't even know it. Then she turned, slowly, deliberately, and pointed at Robin. "And you," she said. "You were sitting at that table." Robin shook her head immediately, tears spilling over. "I thought it was about protecting the family," she cried. "I didn't know, he didn't tell me it would become this." But the words sounded thin. Too late. Too hollow. Judge Harmon didn't interrupt. She simply watched. Listening. Measuring. Christine continued. "He told me once," she said, quieter now, "that if any of us ever left, we'd leave with nothing." Her eyes flickered, distant for a moment. "I thought it was anger. I thought it was just words." She swallowed. He meant it. Another recording was cued. This one quieter. More intimate. Almost whispered. As if it had never been meant to be heard at all. "Christine's starting to think for herself," Cody's voice said. A pause. "That's dangerous." A chill spread through the courtroom. "If we can get her to sign that settlement before she leaves, we're set." Another pause. "She won't even realize what she's giving up." The reaction was instant. Gasps. Whispers. Shock breaking through the walls of composure. Christine closed her eyes for a brief moment. "I signed it," she said. Her voice was barely audible. "I thought it was clean. I thought it was fair." Her eyes opened again, burning now. "I didn't know I signed away my land. My share. My future." That silence returned. But this time, it wasn't confusion. It was realization. Janelle leaned toward her attorney immediately. "We need a forensic accountant," she whispered urgently. "Now." Robin tried to stand again, but one look from Judge Harmon stopped her cold. And then, for the first time since the trial began, Mary spoke. "I told him to stop." Her voice was quiet, but it cut clean through the tension. "I told him this would destroy everything." Christine turned toward her slowly. "You knew?" she asked. Mary hesitated. "I didn't know everything," she admitted. "But I heard enough." A pause. "I thought, if I stayed out of it, it would pass." Christine's eyes shimmered with something deeper than anger. "You let him take everything from me." The space between them felt like it stretched years. Not feet. Years. Sisterhood dissolving in real time. Judge Harmon cleared her throat, bringing the room back under control. "This court will order a full audit of all Brown family holdings," she stated firmly. A bailiff immediately began distributing documents. But it was already too late for containment. Because now everyone knew. Robin leaned toward her attorney, whispering frantically, her hands shaking uncontrollably. Janelle rose suddenly, unable to hold back any longer. "Your Honor, I need to be heard." "You're not scheduled today, Mrs. Brown." "I don't care," Janelle shot back. "This is bigger than a schedule." The judge studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Approach." Janelle walked forward, each step echoing in the silence like a countdown. "There's something no one has mentioned yet," she said, pulling a manila envelope from her bag. "Something I didn't think mattered, until now." She handed it to the judge. "It's about the children." Christine stiffened instantly. Mary looked up sharply. Robin froze. "Custody filings," Janelle continued. "Submitted without our knowledge." The words hit like a shockwave. "What?" Christine breathed. "They were pushing for sole custody," Janelle said, "and trying to sever financial ties to the rest of us." Her voice hardened. "They claimed instability in our homes." Judge Harmon's expression darkened as she reviewed the documents. "These were filed under a different jurisdiction," she said slowly. "Sealed." She looked up. "How did you obtain these?" "A contact at the clerk's office," Janelle replied. "They said it didn't feel right." Robin shot to her feet, anger flashing through her tears. "You had no right. You don't get to play victim and villain at the same time," Judge Harmon cut in sharply. The room fell silent again. Christine's hands trembled now. "They were trying to erase us," she whispered. "Legally. Financially. As mothers." Mary closed her eyes, as if the weight had finally become too much to carry. Judge Harmon exhaled slowly, then delivered the words that changed everything. "This court is escalating this matter." A pause. "Effective immediately, we are initiating a criminal inquiry." The reaction was immediate. Shock. Fear. Disbelief. Robin shook her head, whispering under her breath. No, this wasn't supposed to happen, but it already had. Janelle stepped back, returning to her seat. And every eye in the courtroom followed her. Because she hadn't just spoken. She had detonated something. What began as a dispute was now an investigation. A full-scale unraveling. Judge Harmon looked across the room one final time. We are entering uncharted territory. Her voice was firm, decisive. Prepare yourselves. Because from this point forward, there was no going back. The night everything was taken by the time the courtroom reconvened, the air itself felt different. Heavier. What had once been a controlled legal proceeding was now something far more volatile and unraveling that no one could stop. The gallery had been cleared. No media. No spectators. Just the judge, the attorneys, and the women whose lives were collapsing in real time. Christine sat alone again. But this time, she wasn't just a witness. She was the center of it all. Judge Harmon leaned forward, her tone quieter now, but sharper than ever. Mrs. Brown, she said, we're going to discuss the night of the transfer. Christine didn't respond immediately. Her hands were clasped tightly in her lap, her shoulders rigid, her gaze distant, as if she were staring straight into a memory she had spent years trying to bury. Finally, are you sure? She asked. Her voice was low. Because once I say it, I can't take it back. The judge gave a single nod. Proceed. Christine inhaled slowly, then began. It happened at night, she said. Late. Quiet. No attorneys. No paperwork review. Her eyes flickered. It was just me, him, and Robin. Across the room, Robin's head snapped up. But she didn't speak. Not yet. He told me it was a formality, Christine continued. Just something to clean things up. Make everything easier moving forward. Her jaw tightened. I believed him. A pause. Long enough for the weight of that admission to settle. So I signed. Her voice cracked, not loudly, but enough to fracture the silence. I signed everything he put in front of me. The judge's pen slowed. Specify everything, she instructed. Christine's eyes burned now. My portion of the land, she said. The business account. The investment trust. Her voice dropped. The RV we bought together. Another pause. And? Christine swallowed. Everything. Silence. Deep. Suffocating. I didn't understand what I'd done, she continued. Not that night. Not the next day. Her fingers curled into fists. It took 3 weeks. The courtroom didn't move. Didn't breathe. 3 weeks, she repeated. Before I realized it was all gone. Judge Harmon looked up. Gone? Where? Christine turned her head slowly. Toward Robin. Transferred, she said. To a private entity. Robin shook her head instantly, tears already forming. No, an entity under her control. The words landed like a strike. Robin's composure broke. That's not true, she cried. I didn't. He handled all of that. I didn't know you signed it, Christine cut in. Her voice wasn't loud. But it didn't need to be. Robin faltered. Because she couldn't deny it. The judge made a note. Then looked back at Christine. And after the transfer, Christine's expression changed. Hardened. Darkened. He didn't stop, she said. He just got smarter. A chill moved through the room. That same night, she continued, he asked me to do something else. Her voice lowered. Something that crossed a line. The judge stilled. What kind of line? Christine hesitated. Then answered. He said he needed help moving family items. Her lip curled slightly. He said it was for protection. The judge's pen hovered. Where? A storage facility, Christine said. Not one we'd ever used before. Her eyes narrowed. Different name. Different registration. And inside, Christine's breath caught. For a second. I thought maybe it really was just boxes. Keepsakes. Old things. She shook her head. It wasn't. The silence tightened. There were burner phones, she said. Stacks of cash. More than I'd ever seen in one place. Her voice dropped to a near whisper. And a folder. The judge leaned forward. What did it say? Christine didn't blink. Crisis protocol. Even Judge Harmon paused at that. He told me not to ask questions, Christine continued. Said if I loved the family, I'd just do what he asked. Her jaw clenched. But the way he looked at me, she shook her head slowly. I wasn't a wife anymore. I was a liability. The words hung in the air like smoke. What did he instruct you to do? The judge asked. Christine's hands tightened. He gave me 2 boxes, she said. Told me to load them into a truck. Not ours. Someone else's. Registered to who? I don't know, she admitted. That was the point. The judge made another note. And you complied? Christine closed her eyes briefly. I was afraid. No one in the room questioned that. I told him I was done, she added. That I would expose everything. Her lips trembled slightly. He laughed. A sharp edge entered her voice. He said no one would believe me. A beat. He said I'd look bitter, emotional, unstable. Christine opened her eyes again. And for a long time, she let out a hollow breath. I thought he was right. Judge Harmon studied her carefully, then asked the question that shifted everything again. Do you know where the money came from? Christine shook her head. No. A pause. But I know where some of it went. Her gaze moved again. To Robin. Her name was on the deposits, she said. Cashier's checks. Large amounts. Her voice sharpened. Deposited the same week I signed everything away. The courtroom stirred. Christine reached into the evidence stack and pulled out a photograph. It was passed to the judge. A private investigator took that, she said. Judge Harmon examined it closely, then looked up. You hired an investigator? Christine shook her head. No. A small pause. Janelle did. Janelle didn't deny it. Didn't move. We started comparing notes, Christine continued. Quietly. Carefully. Her voice grew steadier. Me. Janelle. Eventually, even Mary. Mary looked down. Ashamed. But not surprised. We found patterns, Christine said. Fake LLCs. Wire transfers just under reporting limits. Her tone hardened. Multiple addresses. Multiple accounts. She leaned forward slightly. This wasn't chaos. This was structure. The judge's pen moved again. Faster now. And then, Christine said softly, there's something else. The room tightened. I didn't mean to record it, she explained. My phone was on. I didn't realize. Her voice dropped. I was in the bathroom. No one spoke. They were outside, she continued. Talking. A pause. Kody and Robin. Robin's head lifted slowly. Eyes wide. Christine's voice turned cold. He said, if Christine takes this to court, we'll say she's unstable. A beat. We'll use counseling records. Push for custody. A gasp broke through the silence. And Robin asked him. Christine continued. Isn't that unethical? Every eye in the room turned. Christine didn't look away. And he said, her voice barely rose above a whisper. Only if we get caught. Silence. Total. Absolute. Judge Harmon leaned back slowly. Do you still have that recording? Christine nodded. Yes. Where? Secure cloud storage. A pause. Janelle has a copy too. The judge turned immediately to the bailiff. Arrange forensic authentication. Then she looked back at Christine. But before she could speak, Christine added one more sentence. Quiet, but devastating. There's more. And, just like that, the room braced itself again. Because whatever came next would be worse. The collapse of the courtroom didn't feel like a courtroom anymore. It felt like the center of something much larger. Something dangerous. Christine sat there, visibly drained, but lighter in a way that only comes when the truth has finally been forced into the open. Judge Harmon watched her carefully. You said there was more. Christine nodded slowly. One last thing, she whispered. Her eyes drifted, not to the judge this time, but somewhere deeper. Somewhere buried. It was about a year before I left, she began. Robin came to see me. Across the room, Robin stiffened. She was crying, Christine continued. Said she needed to talk. A pause. I thought, maybe she finally understood. Maybe she saw what he was doing to all of us. Christine shook her head. I was wrong. The silence deepened. She told me to let go of my shares, Christine said. Said it would bring peace. Her voice hardened. I asked her why she was defending him. A beat. And she said, Christine's eyes lifted sharp now. Because if we don't protect Kody, we all lose. The words echoed. Heavy. Final. Christine exhaled slowly. I think she believed that, she added. I really do. Her gaze softened, just for a moment. But somewhere along the line, protecting him turned into hiding him. Her expression hardened again. Enabling him. Lying for him. Robin broke. Completely. I didn't know it would become this, she sobbed. I thought I was helping the family. Janelle's voice cut through instantly. You weren't helping the family, she said coldly. You were helping him. Judge Harmon raised a hand, restoring order. But the damage was already done. This court acknowledges your testimony, the judge said to Christine. Then her tone shifted, firmer now. But understand this, your involvement may still be subject to investigation. Christine didn't hesitate. I understand, she said. A pause. I've been ready for that. And for the first time, there was no fear in her voice. She stood slowly, not as a victim, but as someone who had nothing left to hide. But before the moment could settle, the courtroom doors burst open. Janelle rushed in, breathless, clutching her phone. Your Honor, there's more. A ripple of tension surged instantly. Judge Harmon frowned. What is it now? Janelle stepped forward, her voice shaking. Our investigator just sent this. She handed over the phone. It's encrypted, but he included a screenshot. The judge examined it. Her expression changed. Sharpened. It's a legal consultation record, she said slowly. For child emancipation proceedings. The room froze. Christine's voice came out as barely more than air. What? Janelle swallowed hard. Filed by Robin, on behalf of Kody. Her voice cracked. About my son. The impact was immediate. They were trying to separate him from me, Janelle continued. Legally. Claiming I wasn't fit. Robin shot to her feet again. That's not. Sit down, Judge Harmon snapped. Her voice cut like steel. The judge turned back to the evidence, then spoke the words that shattered whatever control remained. We are no longer dealing with a family dispute. A pause. This is now a criminal investigation. Shock rippled through the room. I am formally requesting federal involvement, the judge continued. Financial crimes, fraud, asset concealment, this goes beyond this court. Robin sank back into her chair, shaking. No, this wasn't supposed to happen, but it already had. Before anyone could react further, another interruption. This time, a man in a dark suit rushed forward, flashing credentials. Your Honor, Agent Reeves. Federal Financial Crimes Division. The room fell silent again. We intercepted an email this morning, he said, handing over a flash drive. Sent by Kody Brown. Christine's stomach dropped. Subject line, the agent continued. Initiate Plan Z. Even Robin looked stunned now. The judge narrowed her eyes. What's on the drive? Travel records. Financial transfers. Audio files. A pause. And a flight booking. Christine gripped the edge of the table. Where? The agent shook his head. Unknown destination. Private flight. Then, there's something else. The room held its breath. It's booked for 3 passengers. Silence. Kody Brown. Robin Brown. A pause that stretched too long. And a minor. Robin's face went pale. Christine whispered it first. Solomon. Everything tilted. They were leaving, Janelle said. Tonight. But the shock wasn't over. Not even close. Because at that moment, a man who had been sitting quietly in the back of the courtroom finally stood. No one had noticed him before. Not really. He looked ordinary. Forgettable. But the way he moved, calm. Precise. Intentional. He walked straight to the front without asking permission. Every eye followed him now. Your Honor, he said evenly, placing a thin folder on the table. My name is Cole Mercer. A pause. I'm a licensed private investigator. He glanced briefly at Christine. Then at Janelle. I was hired by an unnamed client connected to this case. The judge studied him. And why are you here now? He opened the folder. Because I've spent 14 months tracking the financial and legal structure behind this family. a beat. And what I found changes everything. The room went completely still. There wasn't just one plan, he said. There were multiple. He slid a document forward. This is a sworn affidavit. Judge Harmon read quickly. Her expression darkened. There's a second contingency, she said slowly. Christine's chest tightened. Contingency? Gee, the words felt unreal. The investigator nodded. If the first plan failed, if any of the wives spoke out, he paused. Kody would fake a medical emergency, disappear across state lines, and transfer all remaining assets offshore. The silence that followed was absolute. Christine's voice trembled. He was going to run. The investigator didn't soften it. He was prepared to vanish completely. Judge Harmon stood. And when she spoke, it was no longer just authority. It was final. This case is now under federal jurisdiction. The sound of it echoed. Heavy. Unavoidable. Asset freezes are effective immediately, she continued. All accounts. All holdings. Robin's breath hitched. Our house, our children, speak to your attorney. The judge cut in. Then added, colder. You may want one of your own. Janelle's fists clenched. We didn't want this, she said. We wanted the truth. Christine's voice dropped to something almost unrecognizable. But you forced it. The courtroom had become something else entirely now. Not a place for arguments, but a place where everything buried had finally surfaced. Then one last interruption. The clerk approached the judge with a sealed envelope. Delivered moments ago, they said. Verified source. Judge Harmon opened it. Read. Paused. Her expression shifted again. It's another affidavit, she said slowly. From an insider. The room held still. It outlines a third contingency. Even the investigator looked surprised now. Plan Z, the judge said. Christine felt the floor drop beneath her. It confirms the escape, the judge continued. The flight. The asset transfer. A pause. And it states, she hesitated, just for a moment, that if anyone interfered, her eyes lifted. Threats would be made. Christine's phone buzzed. She froze. Slowly, she looked down. One message. Unknown number. You think you're safe? Her breath caught. And for the first time, after everything, fear returned. Outside the courthouse, the air felt sharp. Unforgiving. Christine stepped out slowly, her mind racing. Janelle stayed close beside her. Are you okay? Janelle asked. Christine didn't answer. Because she had just seen him. A man. Dark sunglasses. Brown jacket. Moving with purpose through the crowd. And then, without stopping, he slipped something into her pocket. Gone before anyone could react. Inside the car, hands shaking, they opened it. Documents. Screenshots. Bank transfers. Custody filings. And one page. A contract. Signed months before the family ever broke. Christine's voice cracked. They planned it, Janelle nodded slowly. Not for us. A pause. For themselves. Back in the courtroom, as the evidence was presented, there was no denial left. Only collapse. Robin sobbed. Uncontrollably. I didn't know it would go this far, but no one answered her. Because now, it didn't matter anymore. Judge Harmon raised the final document. This establishes intent, she said. Premeditation. She set it down. We are proceeding with full criminal charges. And, just like that, it was over. Not the case. Not the investigation. But the illusion. The family that once stood together was gone. Replaced by truth. By evidence. By consequences. And somewhere out there, Kody Brown was running. But not for long. First part is over. Kindly subscribe the channel. Next part are coming very soon.